Hello, Pirate Dave here. It is time for another Phantom Sunday story, this time from October 18th, 1942. It is Sunday story number 8, Castle in the Clouds. What a dreamy title to a story, right? This is actually the first part of a three-part story that has conventionally, since it released, been separated into three parts. And I think by the end of the story, you'll understand why. To quickly recap the previous story, which was the imposter Trader Joe had escaped from prison and come upon the Phantom's uniform while the Phantom was bathing. He took the uniform not knowing who the Phantom was initially, and after putting it on and realizing the local natives worshipped him, he used it to his advantage to extort treasures and gifts from them. Meanwhile, the Phantom, not looking like the Phantom, was mistaken for a dangerous stranger and had to fight his way through the tribes to track down Trader Joe and restore his reputation because Trader Joe's cruelty had actually disrupted the Phantom's peace and led to tribes warring against one another. Sure enough, the Phantom was successful in tracking down Trader Joe, as well as the father and daughter that Trader Joe had kidnapped in fear that they would turn him into the authorities. And he brought Trader Joe to justice, and he restored his reputation to the jungle by defeating Trader Joe in front of everyone. It was great. It was a great independent story separated from everything else. But this next one obviously is going to be much more interconnected. So if you're a fan of overarching narratives, you'll enjoy this one. Let's get right into it. We start off on the port of Morristown. We're here at the dock as two sailors are lamenting their role in babysitting the Marshall sisters. They think this is a couple of elderly sister geologists. Sure enough, look at that. Ooh la la. These two young women are Greta and Lana Marshall. I'm guessing named for Greta Garbo and Lana uh, Turner. That would be my best assumption. Greta and Lana are venturing into the deep woods to the mountain regions to conduct a geological survey. They're looking for precious materials, things like that. They'll be the first geologists to ever do so. And their explanation for them being so young is that their father was a geologist. So they started very young. While they're on the riverboat on their way to their safari, they decide to take a break and they jump onto the coast where they witness a strange scene. This purple clad man being worshipped by some tribals. They don't know what to make of it. The captain explains there's an old native legend about the phantom, a man who's lived for centuries and can't die. And the Marshall sisters suppose that may have been who they saw. It's very odd, of course, but they don't really think much of it. Meanwhile, as they are conducting their safari, they're pretty successful. Uh, but somebody is watching them. Curious eyes watch the work of these girls. Arrogant eyes, for this is the legendary Old Man of the Mountains. The Old Man of the Mountains. Who is he? What does he want with the Marshall sisters? Sure enough, the Marshall sisters find some gold. In fact, some gold, silver, platinum, and copper. But somebody else knows that there's precious metals in the region because a group of soldiers come upon them. And even though the Marshall sisters try to fight them off as best as they can, they let loose a carrier pigeon to return to the soldiers at the port and let them know that they're in danger while they are taken off by the soldiers. And this is the Old Man of the Mountain that was watching them before. Many miles away on the coast, the pigeon released by the girls reaches its cote, and the soldiers realize the Marshall sisters need some help. The soldiers are actually explained as being excited to venture into the mountains to save the Marshall sisters. They're rearing for some action, so looks like a rescue mission is on the way by the local soldiers. Meanwhile, the Phantom notices the activity of the soldiers, noting that they've never come this far into the country, but he's completely unaware of what's going on currently. The soldiers find the mountain forces, and the man of the mountain commanding them, even entering the battle himself, is a vicious opponent, and he actually routs the soldiers completely, leaving a lone survivor who dives off a cliff to escape the man of the mountain's forces. And he floats down river, and there is where he meets the Phantom. The Phantom, nursing him back to health, listens to his story about a man of the mountain and the rest of his forces being captured or killed. The Phantom asks Garan if he knows anything about the Man of the Mountain, and he relays old myths, just like the Phantom. I have heard travelers' tales of a giant who rules like a king in a castle that touches the clouds. This may be the one of whom you speak. There's a very insensitive depiction of a Garan right there. I'm really not sure about that. Um, the Phantom decides he is going to go and save the Marshall sisters and whatever soldiers may be left from the wounded soldiers' forces. Meanwhile, the Man of the Mountain is looks like he's lecturing the Marshall sisters. So, you come to steal my precious rocks, you two young females. Bring that soldier. And this is the little soldier who came to rescue you. Tiny men, midgets, all of them. In the days of my youth, I knew men, real men. Nowhere in this world is a man who can stand against me. Well, I don't know about that, old man of the mountain. You're about to find out. Sure enough, the Phantom has discovered the castle in the clouds where the old man of the mountain is rumored to live. And at the same time, the old man seems to have spotted the Phantom scaling his mountain. And sure enough, he sends his soldiers after the Phantom, but the Phantom make quick work of him. Look at this illustration. I think this actually appears on the the cover of the first volume, volume 1 of the Sundays. It's very interesting because this is the second volume. The Phantom makes quick work of the Man of the Mountain soldiers. Greta and Lana are watching on, and they recall the man that they saw on the riverbank before their safari, and they decide this must be the Phantom, this guy that can take on forces that just moments ago took out the soldiers that came to rescue them. The Phantom knocks on the old man of the mountain's door. Where is this old man of the mountains who crushes men and rocks like raw eggs? Open, open. And the man of the mountain, he's not going to face him just yet. He decides he's going to let out his pets, these giant vulture looking giant Kilhar hawks, the most powerful, hugest, and most ravenous of flying things. And they are going after the Phantom. Even though the Man of the Mountain describes the birds as having feathers, as strong as like iron and steel, the Phantom actually makes his shots count. He takes out two of the birds with shots to the eyes, and the last bird he just he just manhandles, he strangles to death. And seeing his pets kill, the Man of the Mountain decides to let the Phantom on and killed my pets. Open the gates, let him in. Wow, the Man of the Mountain may have met his match. We will see. As the old man is going to face the Phantom, one of the old man's forces actually shoots the Phantom from behind with a flat tipped arrow. Look at this. We even get a nice little diagram of it right there. See it behind there. And this knocks out the Phantom. And sure enough, the old man just lifts him up with one hand, his limp body. So, this is the pygmy who killed my pets. Your hero, eh? This Phantom, this man who cannot die, we shall see about that. Bring forth Storm and Avalanche. These two horses, Storm and Avalanche. What a panel introducing them. Look at that. And it looks like the old man is going to tie the Phantom's limbs to these two horses, and he's going to rip him apart. But sure enough, Devil comes in. Good boy Devil comes in, and he herds the horses together, preventing them from running in opposite directions. Thunder and brimstone, give me an iron dart. I'll finish that animal. And the Phantom wakes up thanks to Devil's delay, and the way this panel is described is amazing. With a powerful twist of his mighty muscles, he throws Avalanche and snaps the cords that bind him. The Phantom throws an entire horse. Look, we say that the Phantom doesn't have powers, but if he's throwing like big stallions around, at a certain point, we have to concede that this guy has ridiculous strength. The Phantom challenges the old man. Will you face me in a fair fight, old man of the mountains? Seize that impudent scoundrel to the torture chamber with him. The Phantom decides that the old man's not going to fight fair, so he takes off, escaping through a window along with Devil. Look at that. Keep going, Devil. I love how he's cradling him right there. And the old man watches the Phantom escape. And he just taunts Greta and Lana with the fact that their rescuer ran off. He immediately decides that the Phantom has run away in cowardice, and he gives Greta and Lana some slave outfits, it looks like, to dress into. But meanwhile, the Phantom's actually in the bowels of the old man's castle. He finds his torture chamber, his treasure chest. I guess he's just sort of assessing all the sort of evil this guy has done and all the, wealth that he's amassed in his tyranny. Uh, we get this next week's series of panels where the old man goes back up to where the Phantom last was seen and he finds his skull mark. This is interesting because I really think it would have been appropriate to have him do that right after he watched the Phantom leave, which would have been a couple of weeks ago in terms of when these were released. But perhaps on consideration, they realized, oh, we're going to need him to become familiar with the Phantom's symbology. So here's his panel of him going back and finding where the Phantom was last seen, and he finds his mark, the skull head, and his lackey confirms it. Aye, sir, the death's head of the mark of the Phantom. And still, the old man is not really concerned about it. He is making slaves of Greta and Lana, but sure enough, Greta and Lana come face to face with the Phantom in the old man's pantry. And as they bring out a cup for the old man to drink from, he sees the skull mark on the cup. And that's why we got that panel at the beginning of this week, right? We needed the old man to know what the skull mark meant. And really, we should have seen that a couple of weeks ago, right? The old man is not amused. He thinks it's a joke that one of his guards is playing on him. And so he sends his guard back to the pantry to find out whoever's in there and who's making this mark. But the guard is taking his time. He's wondering what's taking so long. He goes to the pantry. He finds his guard unconscious with the death's head on his chin. And now he knows the Phantom must still be around. Meanwhile, the Phantom meets back up with Greta and Lana, trying to help them out. And he also finds the soldiers that were captured in the earlier rescue attempt. And the old man is experiencing, the giant old man of the mountains is perturbed. For the first time in his unruly, brawling life, he knows fear of the unknown. And he's just thinking about the skull mark right there. The Phantom's trying to free the soldiers, but he realizes he needs a key to unlock the shackles. Meanwhile, the guards discover that the old man and the girls are in the dungeon with the prisoners. And look at this: the old man is passing time by wrestling a bear with a muzzle and some gloves, it looks like. And of course, since they know where the Phantom is, they surround him, and he is caught. But the Phantom challenges him. Wait, old man, your pride, yourself, on your honor. Meet me in fair combat, barehanded. Pah, I am the strongest man on earth. Want a barehanded fight, eh? That gives me an interesting idea. We shall match you with Crusher. A bear versus a spook. Interesting. Really, he missed the opportunity to use the barehanded term quite literally and point that out. So the old man pits his pet bear, Crusher, against the Phantom. He takes off his gloves and his muscles, so Crusher is extremely dangerous. And the Phantom demands that you are a sportsman, old man of the mountains. One favor. If I beat Crusher, will you meet me in fair combat, barehanded? If you, haha, yes! And so the old man agrees to fight the Phantom if he's able to defeat the bear, and he makes Lana and Marshall watch the fight. And the Phantom probably is nobody expected. He just knocks the bear right on the snoot. Look at that poor guy. And punches him right now for the breadbasket. What a panel of the Phantom punching him right in the stomach. And that's it. The bear has had enough. He's going back to his cage. He doesn't want to fight the Phantom anymore. Completely fair, Mr. Bear. I mean, Mr. Crusher. And so this has incensed the old man of the mountain. Crusher, come out, you pig, you rabbit, you chicken-hearted spawn of a titmouse. Remember your promise to meet me in barehanded combat if I vanquish Crusher. Why, you pygmy, you pipsqueak, I'll tear you to bits. I'll feed you piece by piece to Crusher. And so it's the Phantom versus the old man of the mountains. And look at the way these guys are dressed. This looks like a classic wrestling match. And so we'll call it like a wrestling match. the Phantom with a double-legged takedown, and he transitions into a cradle. Oh, but the old man gets out and he applies a bear hug, a vicious bear hug. Oh no, but the Phantom reverses the bear hug with his own bear hug. It's matching strength for strength, folks. The old man of the mountain pushes the Phantom off of him as Greta and Lana Marshall watch on in fear and hope. The old man is on top of the Phantom. Now it looks like he has the advantage, but the Phantom grabs the old man by the beard and he distracts him long enough to get back to his feet, applying a vicious punch to the breadbasket just like his bear, another rocketing punch to the chin, and he lifts the old man up over his body and throws him to the ground. And you can see the actual narration here. The enraged archers of the old man leap to the walls. Their bows are taut. This stranger must not live to boast of his victory. But the old man actually calls him off. He's impressed by the Phantom's strength. This is, hey, for all the underhanded stuff he's done so far, he admires what the Phantom has done. But the Phantom doesn't actually trust that the old man's that impressed. He hands off the key from the old man that he swiped to Greta and Lana to free the soldiers. And meanwhile, he is right. The old man is stewing to his lackey. Whipped me, did he? Gave me a black eye. I would have broken him in half, but I slipped. His lackey agrees with him, and it looks like behind the old man's back, his lackey poisons the Phantom's glass. And sure enough, they're having some dinner. The Phantom is served a glass. Will he drink it? Let's see here. Drink. What are you waiting for? Will you exchange glasses with me as a sign of friendship? And the lackey, no, no, excellency. And we see the old man. Of course. Why not? And the old man decides he must have poisoned it. So he makes his lackey drink the poison. Oh my goodness. Thunder and brimstone, I'll strangle a man or tear him apart, but I won't poison him as if I were a creeping reptile. And the old man is completely enraged. He demands the Phantom leaves before he loses his temper, but the Phantom demands he's leaving with the sisters and with the soldiers. But the old man has had enough embarrassment from the Phantom. He pulls out a sword and he says to the Phantom, now you've done it, bargaining with me as if I were a peddler. I can stand only so much. This little pigeon will stay here. The soldiers will stay here. You will go, but your head will stay here. What a lie, man. But the Phantom's already bested the old man once. He knocks him in the breadbasket again. He disarms him. Meanwhile, it looks like Greta has returned with the soldiers freed and armed, and the Phantom has the old man at his mercy. Old man of the mountains, your guards are in shackles. The soldiers have taken over. You've terrorized these mountain passes for the last time. Oh, my stomach. You got hit hard in the breadbasket there. And the old man is removed from his authority, removed from his post, and the Phantom and Greta and Lana float down the riverbank to safety and their next adventure. This is where the Castle in the Clouds story ends. As I mentioned, this is a more of a three-part story because the story of the Marshall sisters and the Phantom returning the Marshall sisters back to safety will continue over the course of the next two adventures. But as you can see, that particular section of the adventure, the Castle in the Clouds, ends there. So naturally, and I don't know who made the decision to do it, but naturally, these stories are cut up into three separate stories. So hopefully you enjoyed The Castle in the Clouds. It is interesting so far with the Sunday storyline. We haven't seen Diana Palmer. And in fact, with the chronology of the Sunday stories, they could have happened before the daily stories ever existed, right? If the daily stories started in, like 1936, right? The Sunday stories could start in 1934. Like maybe it's a year before the Phantom meets Diana, because eventually she will make some appearances in the Sunday storyline. But for now, it seems like the Sunday stories are like separated from the romance story arc of Diana and the Phantom, and it's given the Phantom more of an opportunity to be surrounded by a lot of different beautiful ladies and a lot of adventure along with it. I don't know, maybe to make it more exotic. I don't know if I don't know if Lee Falk and Ray Moore and now Wilson McCoy at the time just thought that it would give them more variety, but it's very cool seeing these two separate continuities going on side by side. This story will continue in the Ismani Cannibals. Next week, I will go back to the daily storyline, though, with Bent Beak Broder. That'll be a really interesting one. But the week after, we will return to the Marshall sisters. I can understand if people enjoy them. They're some of my favorite characters, too. We will return to the Marshall sisters and the Phantom floating down the river in the Ismani Cannibals. Hopefully, you enjoyed Castle in the Clouds, and I'll see you next time. Bye.